Alright guys, after tuning in into the Grand Asia final stream, we have the ban list and restricted list updated, revealed for September 1st, which is going to be effective then, announced today, this time, and yeah, basically it's going to be effective a week from now, so stay tuned. I'll leave a link in the description box down below so you guys can reference it, but Bandai hasn't really updated or uploaded their explanations of every single card. We got a full screenshot of everything. We're going to go through everything here today. Right now, there's a lot to digest. But yeah, stay tuned for the link as it will just update as you go and they'll have their explanations. But here, this is what we were told is going to be banned and restricted upcoming in the next week. First and foremost, a new ban card has entered to join alongside Mega Digimon Fusion and Matt Ishida as well, which we have Sayo Koh. This is the Galaxy Tamer that kind of really created a lot of shenanigans when it came to loop. From the very first time I remember during EX5 format, which is one of the Nats from a couple seasons, like last season or a couple seasons ago, this card caused an emergency pair ban with a bunch of other cards because it's creating this galaxy loop where your opponent basically doesn't get to play at all. You just continually steal the turn back over and over again by playing something out, and you get to gain memory, and it was a bit too much. During that time, I felt like this card needed to be addressed already because having like a start of opponent's turn effect is kind of odd to begin with, because when it comes to turn player priority, it's your opponent's turn. They would get all their effects first when they trigger and activate. They all trigger at the same time, but then since you're the opponent, yours would activate the last, meaning you can potentially steal everything back, even if they have a memory setter and whatnot. So that's pretty crazy for what this card can do, and ever since then, this card has always enabled more shenanigans. We've seen recently where there was this Rise Gray combination together with an infinite loop, although it's not as consistent as it is, but creating an infinite loop for the game is just not the greatest. And then more recently, I've also seen one with like the whole Galaxy package deck, which plays like Leopardmon Ace, as well as like playing out like the Legend Arm stuff of like Ludomon, and then because tucking underneath a Digimon is considered as leaving the battle area, and that's how like Leopard Ace was able to capitalize off of it, and the opponent was able to establish multiple of them and gain a ton of memory back. Once again, stealing the turn where you don't get to play, and then the alternative win condition was to either go into like a Pokemon to mill the opponent out, and that's how you win, by going on top of like Leopard Ace or something like that. But I'd say generally, in my opinion, I feel like this card was a huge major design flaw to begin with, just because of how like the effect kind of works and all that, and it really just warps how games. And I think I'm glad that this is finally like banned and dealt with once and for all. Otherwise, it should have been like eroded entirely with a different effect, perhaps. But it's always been this card. This is the problem card that caused all these loops. Enough about that. Let's go into the next card already, but this is the new ban card to join, so you're not allowed to play any copies of it whatsoever. Because moving on next, I want to talk about the new cards that are band paired, which you cannot include both of them in the same deck. So anything with Valder Arm specifically cannot be played together with a Talmon or Sakuyamon X. Mainly, as you guys know, with Sakuyamon, you're able to climb up so rapidly and quickly. You can get into almost like any other level 7. I'm curious to see how this goes, but this is not it just for Sakuya just yet. There's definitely another way that they addressed it here. So I'm curious to see how that works, because some of you guys might be saying or thinking like, oh, well, if you can't go into Valder Arm, just go into Ruin mode instead to do the same thing, which could possibly be the case as well. But we'll have to see and how it goes. Maybe, you know, some of the hits later on that we get to see really dampers the consistency in getting there, which is not as easy as before, but we'll have to see how the meta pans out afterwards. But by going to Valder Arm, you can always like 2 checks, unsuspend, 2 check, and then you just OTK with your tokens afterwards, which is absolutely insane. So, and yeah, with that, I can kind of see the full reason why I actually got to tackle that one for sure. But that's band pair. Keep in mind, guys, you cannot play both these cards in your decks, which personally, I'm not a huge fan when it comes to this. I think this is the best solution, though. I would agree, just because talking about like this is the best way to address it, because you don't want to just kill off like the Axel deck entirely. You don't want to like target these cards. You know, going for Talmon, restricting it down to 1, or Sakuya X doesn't do too much to it either. With Talmon, there's always Talmon Ace to achieve the same goal. Sakuya X maybe not so much, but I'm not a fan of band pair because it's like, you know, it's not the easiest to keep track of when it comes to future deck building. But keep in mind, guys, you're not allowed, whatever you build in the future, you're just not allowed to put these 2 cards together in the same deck. But one note is that you can still play Talmon and Sakuyamon X together by themselves as long as Valor Arm's not included. So that's kind of how they highlight it there, just to be very clear on that part. Now we're going to move on to the cards that are restricted down to 1. And first and foremost, which most of this is pretty like foreseen coming already, Gravity Crush at 1. Makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of decks that are able to sort of abuse the memory gain with this, which is insane. Well, not a lot of decks. I would say mainly like the Growl Rush deck. And honestly, I just felt like this should have been hit in the last banlist restriction alongside with all the memory gaining stuff that they had, like Blinding Ray and Jack Raid as well. And yeah, Gravity Crush is going to come together with that. You know, you're never going to lose that 2 memory because where the intention is to kill your opponents or win that particular turn, you never need to pay that 2 memory back, basically, which is insane. Moving on next, which is definitely another hit to coincide together, which is Parabolic Junk, which also gains you 2 memory. It has a slightly more difficult condition to meet, where your Digimon has to be like deleted to gain 2 memory. But in order to, you know, probably like future-proof any problematic situations that abuse these memory gaining effects, would be Parabolic Junk right there. And yeah, I say like hit those cards, get them out of the way so you don't have to deal with them ever again for now. So next we got Gil Rush, the Rush Guilmon from EX4, which this card particularly basically allows you to attack if there is like total of 20 or more cards in total player's trash. And this is the main core rookie that, you know, people kept on playing for Growl Rush, Growl X, play it, float it back, repeat, swing again 1 at a time. Even if you delete it, you play it back out again and again. Not a problem. Well, now it's down to 1, so you can't execute that combo as frequently as before, but still a relatively good card to include as a 1-up in your deck if you can play it as well. If you ever play Gallant and stuff like that too. But yeah, mainly for the Growl Rush hit. Next one right here, which I find a little bit interesting, which is actually Growlmon from EX3. Now, so for some of you folks back at home, you might have this card and you might read it. It says on deletion effect. Keep in mind, guys, there is an errata on this card. It is actually when Digivolving, as you guys see here on the screen, that you delete an opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. If no Digimon is deleted, both players trash top 2 cards. And this is a really good card to help turbo the player's trash counts so that it helps you set up for the Gallantmon plays. The inherent effect of security attack +1 to deal extra damage is really powerful, and you know, being able to float bodies back anyways, deleting another Digimon that you have on the side of the board to fulfill that requirement is, you know, not hard at all. It's part of what the deck does. I can see why they try to hit this just to slow down the mill and the damage it potentially has, which we are going to talk about in the next card just a bit, because this one's a surprising one, which is Growlmon X Antibody, which I'm showing here on the screen, but just letting you guys know that Growlmon from EX3 is restricted down to 1, but Growl X seems to have dodged the restriction list entirely. So you can still play 4 copies of this card right here on the screen. And I find it kind of interesting because a lot of people in the community that, you know, talked to and heard from feedback generally, you know, people thought that this card is the card that was going to get hit to 1. Normally, I felt like, you know, first of all, it's like, oh yeah, it's always those level 4 X Antibody cards. It's always them that are the problem cards. You know, such as Gurumon X, Gray X from BT11 as well. And then now we have another level 4 that supposedly would have joined them as expected. But not. This card is still at 4. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Maybe perhaps they didn't want to just outright get rid of this card. Maybe they don't think it was as powerful as it is. Or maybe they just want to get rid of the Growl Rush engine. So you don't rush it, but not kill like Gallantmon entirely. But also at the same time, Gallantmon can play fine without necessarily needing this card either. It has great effects to filter, draw trash, flow, and gain memory with its inherent effect. So it's an overall powerful card at the end of the day, for sure. And I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes and how it pans out. But maybe this card should have hit into 1. Let me know in the comments what you think. But this has definitely be another interesting one, which I kind of didn't expect this one. I personally never really played the Phoenixmon engine with the like Growl strategy, but perhaps maybe it's really strong. But one sad thing about Garudamon X being hitting to 1 is that now if you want to play Phoenixmon, you don't really have great level 5s to work with either. And, you know, despite not being able to play the, you know, Growl Rush engine, which I understand that you don't, like you know, the designers and the community probably doesn't want you to play that. bottom end. But now with this gone as well, you know, it's kind of difficult to build a Phoenixmon deck that's more viable. This is a really key card for the deck as well. It is really strong. You know, being able to grab stuff, being able to delete things, gain rush, and trash your opponent's security stack on deletion as well is very useful, is a very good card. But maybe, you know, I'm not too sure about this hit. So I need you guys to let me know in the comments on how you feel about that one as well. Was it necessary? Let me know if you guys play Phoenixmon. For the next one, we talked about the band pair with Talmon, Sakuya X, and Valor Arm, but additionally to hit that even further on the Sakuyamon deck as well, is that they also decide to restrict Digivolution Plugin S down to 1. Now, that's one of the ways that how Sakuyamon was able to turbo up so quickly and so easily by playing all these plugins for free, and then by reducing that Digivolution cost, your Talmon just go into it like for a crazy amount of value. And you can also make an argument like, yeah, well, now they just switch gears to play Yellow Scramble instead. So we gotta see how that pans out again. Really curious to see how it goes, if this is enough, but they got more incoming. They've also restricted this Sakuyamon from BT19 down to 1 as well, just because being able to turbo draw cards is instant value, being able to play out like another, like, you know, 2 cost option or more for free, which is pretty good. 5 costs or less for free, and then when you use a 2 cost or more, then you get to play out a token that has blocker with 6k as well. Yeah, you gain a lot off this single card, and it's only just 3 to evil. Yeah, so that's like mainly the hits down to Sakuyamon, and a lot of people have been debating as well and talking about discussing, because now we're expecting to get a advanced deck set for Sakuyamon in sometime around October, if I recall, or no, December, and those cards could easily make the current deck, when it was not hit, even stronger and crazier. So perhaps they have to hit this deck or hit these cards specifically so that, hey, maybe just to upsell their product in upcoming, not too sure. But speaking of which, we want to cover a little bit of like extra reviews that they did during like the stream as well. Here's a quick snapshot of like Arenamon, just a picture for the upcoming advanced deck set. That's, you know, the Amethyst Mandela. And yeah, don't know what this effect is gonna do. Is it Arenamon? Is it an option? We'll find out soon. But, you know, the fact that Sakuyamon is getting more support, you know, it's kind of cool, where, like, you know, we get more, like, stuff, and then maybe they're changing the way of how the deck should be played with that advanced deck set, perhaps. We don't know. We'll see. But I know some of us are also not super excited to see an advanced deck set for this archetype as well, just because of how strong it currently is anyway. So, future will tell us. Next up, we're hitting Royal Knights of the Purge down to 1. Now, I can see why they have to hit Royal Knights, just because if they're hitting all the rest of their decks, Royal Knights can easily become one of the best decks in the format there. It currently kind of is already, and then it's just going to get even stronger, so it probably has to be addressed either way. And I guess they went for this card. Again, I'm not a huge expert on Royal Knights, so if you guys are Royal Knights experts, let me know in the comments on how you feel about this particular hit. But it seems like, from what I'm hearing, it seems to be a fair hit, just because, you know, the whole combination and synergy with Omni X, when it's tucked under Kingdrasil, you get to use this to play out for free, and against Rush, you can easily still swing that same turn, you can raid, pierce, deal damage, end of turn, repeat the same thing again, and that's instantly 2 attacks with 2 forms of removal that you pay absolutely no memory for, just for a very easy setup for it to be achieved. So, yeah, that might be one of the biggest things. I know this other combo isn't pulled off as much as before anymore, but there is still that Leopardmon combo where you play this out from the sources of Kingdrasil with Leopardmon, and then use Leopardmon alongside Kingdrasil Reduction to bring out BT13 Omni, and then you can instantly just bring out all the, you know, brothers together, or the lads and the boys with Roaring Knights, and then you just finish the game off there. This card is one of the cards that enables it, so I don't know, we gotta see. Is hitting it down to 1 gonna be enough? Not too sure, but again, we shall see. But I still feel like Roaring Knights is still a relatively strong deck, just because there's quite a few other cards that you guys can easily like tech in and replace and just fit into that deck, even if you're not playing Roaring Knights of the Purge. Next, we have this Metal Garurumon, which some of you guys may have noticed, like in Southeast Asia's and streams and all that, that the thing is, there's a deck out there that utilizes the Garurumon Blue Engine, bottom end, to digivolve all the way up, draw a ton of cards, and then go into this EX1 Metal Garurumon, but you get to digivolve it for free on top of your Sagittarius mode by hard dropping a EX9 Blitzgreymon, and then you gain a ton of memory back because you draw so many cards. You get to gain memory with your Mat Antai as well, since there is a Garurumon and as well as a Greymon in name. And then afterwards, once you gain that memory back by going to this card for free, you DNA into Alter S. And then once you do the Alter S, you can basically do 2 checks at a time and then use Alter S effects, go back to security, play out the level 5, play out the level 6 Blitzgray once again. The level 5 sees the Blitzgray so that you can evolve into a second Metal Gurumon, second one in your hand of this particular card, and then gain a ton of memory again because you draw in so much. And you just loop that combo, and it's like crazy OTK with it. So this card is intended to hit that. I didn't really cover this deck in the channel just yet. I was about to, but I felt like the ban list was coming around the corner. I want to see how it goes. I was going to cover it if it wasn't going to get hit. But now it did get hit, just so you guys know that this was a deck. Not as popular, not being played as much as for us in the West, like the English version as much. It has shown up a little bit here and there, but, I've seen it more on the Asia side. So, yeah, that hit makes sense, for sure. So that basically wraps up for the entire ban restricted update. Here's the whole picture of it. Again, I'll leave a link in the description box down below. You guys can check out once Bandai updates the website and the whole explanation. But this is the whole pure image that we got to see. Quite a lot of cards that are, on this list. One of the things I'm actually curious about was that it seemed like there were no cards that came off the list. Now, I know a lot of recent cards that are hit, they wouldn't come off that soon anyways, but there are several others I felt like could have came off. And I was always more excited of seeing what could come off. But this time around, nothing came off. So let me know as well in the comments on what you guys think. Were there any cards that you guys felt like could have came off, that it made sense for it to come off? Or maybe just general cards that you guys are just fans of that were just hoping for it to come off as well. We talked about that a little bit before in the previous ban list too. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and curious to see what you guys think. So aside from just this news, I want to cover, take this opportunity to cover some exciting news upcoming as well, aside from just the ban list. First and foremost, we got this Black War Greymon Ace from EX10, which I believe would be like the chase rarity. It's a 2-star, chase card of the set. Absolutely magnificent. So cool. This is like the Chinese version that's leaked. I hope, fingers crossed, that this isn't a Chinese exclusive. I hope we get this in English and Japanese as well. If not, hey, I'll just try to buy the Chinese version as well, or try to hunt for the Chinese version. But this looks so cool. I'm excited for EX10 for sure. Lots of deck profiles coming, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Turn on the notification bell. Join the AVAULT Club and such. I'm going to be posting those deck lists soon as well for EX10. So yeah, lots of updates prior to this ban list too. I really want this card. This card is so cool, with Black War Grey being one of my personal favorites. Excited to see how this one goes. Next, we got the first time reveals of BT23 cards, which are going to be the CS Trade starter Digimon for the card for the decks right there. Additional support for CS Trade deck, which is going to be interesting. More different color stuff to work with, which is going to be pretty cool. Tentomon, Gatomon, and Betamon. I'm not going to go through all the individual effects just right here, but it's kind of cool to see. And then you can expect the Digivolution line to go up as well. Alongside with that, there is this new Wormmon, which is more intended to be alongside with Hudiamon from the same BT23 set, which is Hacker's Slumber, which is based on the Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory game as well. So Green Wormmon right here, new one. Not exactly Imperial support, not none of that, no free trade type of stuff there. But yeah, just another review to talk about. And then already they showed us the first secret rare of that set, BT23, which is insane. Mastemon right here, really cool. Read the effect, kind of interesting. I feel like I'm not going to go too much in depth into it specifically, but I feel like it really comes down to whether of it being good or not. Could potentially be like the Angelomon and the Lady Devimon that we might be getting in BT23 as well. Not sure if we can get like a new Mirai. Maybe we get a new option card that works together with like Mastemon specifically. But the cool thing is that you can probably intend to build this in the pure Mastemon deck, or you can build it in like a CS Trade base Mastemon deck together. And yeah, cool to see what people are cooking up. But you guys who are Mastemon fans, hopefully that this brings it back up to speed into the metagame as well, so that people consider playing. But yeah, with the new support from BT22, or the recent support from BT22, it's not too bad. But maybe another round of support, and this could be it to make it like popular again. Another thing is with the BT23 pre-release or release event. This is the Altar card that we're going to be getting. Last time from BT21, we got Paladin Mode Ace. 22, we got Vikemon Ace, and now we got Valkyrie Ace, which are supposedly intended to all complete together with a full piece puzzle, 4 altars together, side by side. Now I'm curious what the last card would be. So far we've seen like, yeah, these are like the mega versions of all the Digimon Tamers 02 series, or not Tamers 02, Digimon 02, Adventure 02 series, and those are the main characters. I'm not too sure what the last Digimon or the last card would be. Really curious to see Magna X, perhaps. I'm not too sure. I can't really tell from the blurred image, which is circulating online a little bit. But for sure, we know this is the Valkyrie mon we're going to be getting next, and you can kind of see like Paladin modes sword going across all of them, which is kind of sick. Definitely can't wait to collect all the holo versions of them together. Now, other leaks we got the first EX11 card illustrations revealed for the first time, which is a Liberator dedicated set. So we're going to get a lot of Liberator related cards in there, which is going to be fantastic. A new Impmon, which we can see here possibly. We can see even Gilmon in this illustration, which is kind of cool. But for sure, it's going to be Impmon and Yuki together. More heavy Metal Dramon support, potentially level 7 for that as well, would be really sick. Stay tuned for that. This is the first, leaks that we get to see. Now, this new one, I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but a new AD01 card illustrations revealed for the first time. I don't know if this is a set itself, like a new set, but we have a Serious Mon, which is really cool. Fantastic art. And I know a lot of Gamamon fans out there would love the Gamamon support for sure. Making that deck even stronger. But yeah, I can't remember exactly what this is all about. Is it like a small little pack, small little set, or what is it? Is it part of a booster box reprint? I'm not too sure. But AD01 is a new set base code for starters. So I'm excited to see what we'll further bring down the road. No release dates on when these are going to be coming just yet. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up for the news plus the ban list restrictions and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Once again, make sure to give this video a like. Make sure to subscribe. Stay tuned for more. We're going to be posting the updated ban list deck profiles on the AVAULT Club membership. I'm going to be covering the meta decks as well soon. So yeah, with all that, always appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. And see you next video. And this is AVAULT signing. Draconic Blade is now live on the AVAULT Store, which is one of the most epic drops I ever released, and the first 50 people to order the full collection will get an exclusive memory marker during this time only. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.